moment just for me, and hell, it felt like eternity. The grass had never looked so good on both sides of the street. All the facts were still the same, but just a whole lot less like shame. And I fell in love with the rough spots on my face and feet. Oh, rise and shine. We only got today to be alive. Yeah, this life is mine, that I share it with you. So sit down for a while. What's the point of running from things we've already left behind? Ooh, don't hide. Promise I'll look forward if I can feel you there by my side. I love this feeling, I can't describe what it means to be alive. No matter how I try, it escapes me. My heart's been set on fire, oh yeah, glowing, crackling, wild and still. Stops me in my tracks, sometimes it shakes me. And I say, ooh, lift me up. I'm done being down. Ooh, wake me up. It's good to be found. Ooh, rise and shine. We only got today to be alive. Yeah, this life is mine, and I'll live it with you.
Good morning. It is good to see all of you online today. I'm Karin Landsberg with the OUUC Tech Team. I use she, her pronouns. Welcome to all who are joining us on whatever platform you are using. This Zoom service is being recorded and it is streaming live to YouTube. We are leading worship from several locations today, so you will see the service move back and forth between us. Most of our sharing happens in the Zoom chat box, which is not posted or shared publicly. We use the chat feature for greetings, song lyrics, affirmations and applause, and items shared from the heart. Please save your comments for the coffee chat, or feel free to contact Reverend Mary at minister@ouuc.org. We will be turning the chat off and on during the service today. We can expect some tech glitches as we continue to do all we can to optimize our connections. If you experience any technical issues during the service, you can reach out to Jocelyn or another member of the tech team for assistance when the chat is on. We appreciate the grace as we all remember it's about connection, not perfection. Last, I hope you will find a candle or chalice. In a moment, we can light them together. Thank you for your grace and adaptability as we all learn together.
Let's sing together hymn number 131 out of the gray hymnal, Love Will Guide Us. The words for the hymn will also be posted in the chat, so you can find them there. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night, and if you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep inside you. You can change the world with your love, for love will guide us. Peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. Thank you for singing.
Wonderful. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist Congregation online worship service. We welcome each of you this morning to our celebration of love and wonder and to our congregation. The OUUC community comes together this morning in the mutual promises and possibilities of our covenant. We envision an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to live out our mission to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become. And we are so glad that you are here. My name is Liz Clement. I use she, her, and they, them pronouns, and I am a member of our worship arts team. Leading worship with me today is our guest minister, the Reverend Erin J. Walter. She's a minister, activist, and musician based in Austin, Texas. A former YMCA director, Reverend Erin is the singer-songwriter for the band Parker Woodland, whose music we'll also welcome into the service. She serves as a board member for the Texas Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry and is the affiliated community minister of Wildflower Church in Austin. We are so glad and grateful to have Reverend Erin and the music of Parker Woodland with us today. As always, we also give thanks for our tech team and OUUC media specialist Jocelyn for providing technical support today. And thanks ever to Darlene Sarkala, our administrator, for keeping us informed and connected. Thank you also to our breakout room hosts and for Troy for bringing our wonderful music through our hands today. We celebrate the many hands that made worship happen. After the service, we invite you to stay online for a virtual coffee chat. This is a chance to gather with a small group to say hello and check in. Each breakout room will be hosted by someone to help make sure everyone knows each other and has a chance to share. We'll also offer reflection questions to get the conversation started. We hope you'll stay. I want to draw your attention now to our order of service, which includes our announcements available on the website. Next Sunday's service will be led by Matt Myers. Matt returns to OUUC's virtual pulpit with his drums and music to share a message of love and justice through rhythm and song. You can learn more about Matt on his website, which we'll put in the chat. September 12th is our water communion in gathering service. We hope you're gathering your water to share. We'll have more information and a link to register to attend the service in person in the Tuesday update, so be sure to look for that. There are many opportunities, as always, to stay connected to our community, because as we know, and as we will continue to see, social distancing does not mean social isolation. Please check our website regularly, and if you have questions or need help, please check in with a staff member. Now, let us open our hearts and minds as we prepare for worship. Welcome, everyone. It is so good to be together. This morning, like every Sunday morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. Please join me now as we light our chalices together with these words, by Andrew Pakula. Let there be light. Let there be light. The light of joy, the light of happiness, the light of contentment. May it illuminate our paths and fill our lives with peace. And let there be dark, for it is from our dark places that we are brought forward, tried and tested, and impelled toward growth. And in these places, we realize the compassion and learn to love. And there was day, and there was night, and there was joy, and there was sorrow. And it was good.
Thank you, Liz, for choosing that beautiful reading. Good morning from Austin, Texas, from my sparkle shed. I'm the Reverend Erin Walter, and I believe that a little sparkle never hurt anywhere you can find it. I want to thank your Reverend Mary for the invitation to share the pulpit, a great silver lining of a time of loss and grief in my community and my ministry has been to be able to come and be with UUs all around the country and really North America. So this is such a gift. Thank you so much. The opening words this morning come from a great UU lay leader, Elandria or E. Williams. And if the name Elandria Williams is new to you, and even if it isn't, I highly encourage you to look them up after the service and read and experience some of the videos of their legacy. E was a powerful speaker, a joyful presence in our movement, rose to be the co-moderator of the Unitarian Universalist Association from August 2017 to June 2020. That's the highest volunteer role in our movement. He was a Black trans UU who grew up in the movement, and we lost, it's hard to say, but we lost them last year, too young at age 41. And so I again encourage you to look up Elandria Williams. These words are an excerpt from We Are Worthy. We are worthy not because of what we produce, but because of who we are. We are divine bodies of light and darkness. You are not worthy because of what you offer. You are not worthy because of what is in your mind, not for the support you give others, not for what you give at all. We are worthy and whole just because. In that spirit, welcome again to worship. Our opening hymn comes from the incredible UU musician, Melanie DeMore. Shine on Me is a spiritual, and Melanie really brings it to life. I invite you to sing along, even on mute. All of the music today is going to come from a variety of sources and styles, and I just invite you to let it reach you in different places in that variety. Shine on Me, Melanie DeMore.
Hello, UU family. I'm going to sing a song with you called Shine on Me. It's an amazing spiritual that anybody can sing. And in these days when the things that we're dealing with, the feeling separate and all of that, and things seem so hard, this is one of those songs that you just throw your head back, put it in your medicine kit. All you have to do is ask. And here's how it goes. Shine on me, oh shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me, oh shine on me, yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. lift me up, oh, lift me up. Let the light from the lighthouse lift me up, oh, lift me up. Yes, lift me up. Let the light from the lighthouse lift me up. Oh, hold me close. Yes, hold me close. Let the light from the lighthouse hold me close. Yes, hold me close. So hold me close. Let the light from the lighthouse, please hold me close. Oh, shine on me, shine on me. Yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me. Oh, shine on me. Yes, shine on me. Let the light from the lighthouse shine on me.
Beautiful. We came together in community this morning, bringing all that is in our lives. In this space, we draw on the strength of our community to listen deeply and hold all that we bring here with us. In this space, we share from our hearts what brings us joy and sorrow, and what brings us worry and delight, what makes us afraid and what makes us dance. Let us open our hearts to the complexity of life, our own and others. If you would like to send in something to share, please look for the link in the online worship page on the OUUC website, and we'll bring it into the service next week. Right now, I invite you to take a breath in and out as we open our hearts to receive the complexity of all that is in our lives and community today. Gail James asks for our care for her friend Laura, who is quite ill. Gail and Laura have been friends for over 50 years, and Gail cherishes their connection. The hope is that Laura recovers enough to return to home with home health care. Gail, we send our love and care to you and to Laura. May you both be well. Jocelyn shares the joyful news of their wedding to their partner, Alex. With gratitude to Reverend Mary for officiating and to members of this community for supporting and celebrating their love for one another, Joe and Alex look forward to growing and building a life together. We send them our congratulations and so much love. I invite you now to share from your heart by entering into the chat box on your screen. This is a time to share all that you wish, joys and sorrows, and whatever else is shared from your heart. As we take in what is posted, let us hear the heartbeat of our community and reach out our hearts in love and care to all those who share. I place a stone in the water now for all that has been shared from the heart, a stone holding the complexity of our lives, held in the water of community. And we will place one more stone in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken.
Thank you for the generous gifts of your sharing and connection. May you feel your hearts, your prayers surrounded in the love of this community and the universal love that is bigger, grander than we can even know. During this time of prayer and meditation, sometimes I like to say a prayer of words, and sometimes I like to just have a tool to put in my toolkit. I think of Melanie DeMore's song, Shine on Me, like she said, put it in your medicine kit. And so I keep that song in my spiritual medicine kit, and I keep this little meditation exercise that I'd like to share with you this morning. I especially find it helpful as we're going back into a year of school. For those of you who are parents like me or educators, sometimes you just need a moment to reconnect to yourself and to pause. And so what this meditation is it's a way to take 5 breaths. And what you do, it's also a way to reconnect to your body, to get back in our bodies. UUs can be very in the head. I'm a born and raised UU, so I speak from experience, but to connect with our bodies is so important. So if you would, by invitation only, of course, all by consent, touch a finger to the bottom of your hand, and you're going to breathe in as you go up to the top of a finger, and then exhale as you come down. And we'll pause at the top, and you take this at your pace. All right, ready? They say it's good to go even slower on the way down, so let's aspire to that. Make a nice loud exhale sound if you want to. There's a lot to exhale in life these days. One more. Yes. And if it's an especially hard day, you can go to the other hand. And if you need it, you've probably got toes. And what I would say is this is great to use with kids. It's great to use alone. It's great to use in a committee meeting. If things are getting a little tense in a UU committee meeting, that's never happened before, has it? But feel free to use this. I even like to use it at a red light. Don't use it while you're driving, and don't close your eyes. But it's good, for road rage prevention. So just remember to put things in your spiritual toolkit, your medicine kit, and this breathing exercise can be one of those things. Thank you.
Our prayers and meditations deepen our gratitude for what we know as sacred in our lives and in this world. Each Sunday, we express our gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. The offering collected here today does two things. It supports the ongoing work of OUUC, which is also supported by your regular pledges. This offering also supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. For the months of July and August, our Share the Plate recipient is the Family Support Center of South Sound. We have a video to share about their work.
Good morning, I'm Trish Gregory, Executive Director of the Family Support Center of South Sound. I use she, her pronouns. It's very nice to be here with you this morning. Always appreciate an opportunity to meet the OUUC congregation and have an opportunity to share a little bit about what we're doing as an organization and how your work is supporting that. So we're so grateful to have been chosen for the Share the Plate contributions this year. We're very excited to utilize those funds to work towards creating greater equity within our community. Our staff are very excited to have some new library materials that we'll have for our race equity library that allows them to check out books and to learn and grow in their own understanding of how we can be a more equitable community. So that's going to be a great resource for us, as well as the training that this grant will also provide for our organization. As an organization, our mission is working together to strengthen all families, and we just really appreciate your partnership in helping us to accomplish that. Thank you so much.
Please note that you can participate in the offering by making a donation online through the church website or by texting the number that will appear on your screen in just a moment. You can also mail a check to OUUC. Our community partners continue to need our financial support. May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
And may I add blessings on your gifts and on you as givers. Before we go into this offertory music or anthem, I wanted to say just a little bit about the video. Number one, welcome to my very messy, very lived-in home in Austin, Texas. That is where this video takes place. You're going to hear Parker Woodland's anthem, "The World's on Fire and We Still Fall in Love." And I wrote this song in 2018 to grapple with the struggles I was feeling about the state of the world. And for better or worse, it's only become more relevant now. But what you'll see in this video is the last gathering I had in my home before the pandemic hit. We didn't know then that this would be our last time together as a community. These are my beloveds you're going to see. Friends, family, bandmates, Zumba mates from my Zumba class, all kinds of stuff. And you're gonna see an array of joy practices. So what we're going to be talking about in the sermon is joy practices for hard times. That's part of it. And so as you're looking at this, I invite you to think about, as you're also making your gift, please, these two questions. If this were the last party that you threw, who would you want to be there? And what were the joy practices that we would see while we were watching from your special home or place in all of its realness, in all of its mess? So this is The World's on Fire and We Still Fall in Love. And I thank you for the opportunity to share my spiritual practice of music making with you. Also, it's kind of loud, so you adjust your volume accordingly. It's rock and roll.
They tell you it's your fault if you trust. But there's one thing I know, it's this: opposites do coexist, and the last thing they'll ever kill is love. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we'll still fall in love. The world's on fire and we're not giving up. No, I could let you go.
Thank you, everyone, for your generous gifts and for the wonderful music. Our reading today is Go to the Limits of Your Longing, coming to us from Rainer Maria Rilke. God speaks to each of us as he makes us, then walks with us silently out of the night. These are the words we dimly hear. You, sent out beyond your recall, go to the limits of your longing. Embody me, flare up like a flame, and make big shadows I can move in. Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Don't let yourself lose me. Nearby is the country they call life. You will know it by its seriousness. Give me your hand. This ends our reading.
Thank you, Liz. Shall we take a breath together? I noticed as I was watching that video for approximately the 11 billionth time that my friend, a racial justice advocate in Austin, who is now in Detroit, the one who taught me the hand meditation was in that video. So that was special, and I give thanks for Nakia and the wisdom that she has shared. Before I enter the sermon proper, and this relates to the topic, I want to elaborate a little bit on something from earlier, and I put it in the chat, but for those who aren't in the chat, I want to share it with you. So when I talked about Elandria or E. Williams, I used the word trans, and I realized as soon as it came out of my mouth that that might be shorthand for which Elandria might not have themselves used. And so what I really wanted to share with you is the words of the Reverend Mr. Barb Grieve, who was co-moderator with Elandria. And this came from the UUA obituary, and it's really powerful. E lived an intersectional life. E was African-American, E lived with disabilities, and I don't know how Elandria defined E's gender, but certainly not cis. E moved in and out of those communities, reminding us that people could live multiple truths. And at E's service, Reverend Mr. Barb Grieve said, in each relationship and setting, Elandria was known by different nicknames and pronouns, a true reflection of the beautiful ways our beloved moved through life and community. Sometimes one word is not enough. And sometimes we say a word and it comes out of our mouth and we know it's not quite right. And so it's in that spirit that it's always, always good to go back and acknowledge and try again. That's our human experience and our experience with words. So the world's on fire and we still fall in love. We celebrate Joe's wedding in the midst of all the struggles. Yes. I feel like that phrase, wherever it came from to me, the world's on fire and we still fall in love, I've been holding on to, and it just becomes more and more precious to me. Maybe next time you see me, I'll have like the logo tattooed on me. That's how important it's become to me. But what I want us to be thinking about together today, feeling about, being about, is the idea that the world is and can be on fire. There are so many struggles, literal and figurative, that are covered in that phrase that we don't want to turn away from. As Unitarian Universalists, as people of faith, we are committed to facing the challenges of the pandemic, of racism and oppression, of environmental chaos. We are committed to that, and we must also hold love, beauty, joy, music, art, all of those things are still here and are still to be embraced and shared. And so in that wonderful Rilke poem that I pretty much have memorized now, Go to the Limits of Your Longing, I'll tell you that a friend sent it to me early in the pandemic because my job that I love dearly as the Director of Community Engagement and Social Responsibility for the YMCA of Austin, which you see me hydrating from my YMCA cup. That job, along with about 75% of the jobs at the Y here in Austin, was eliminated due to COVID cutbacks. And I was grieving. I was grieving not being able to play music live with my band or go to church with Wildflowers at the congregation I'm affiliated with. I was grieving my kids weren't at school. I wasn't teaching Zumba in person. I'm also a Zumba teacher. That's my spiritual, physical practice. So all of those in-person things that I was all about, I couldn't do. And so my friend sent me that Rilke poem for that line, "No feeling is final." And I love it. No feeling is final. And at first, I thought of that almost exclusively when it comes to grief and sadness. I would use it to remind congregations and myself that we would not be this sad forever. But over time, and I've now been with about 100 congregations in this silver lining of Zoom ministry that came forth from the ashes of losing my other job, in watching that video and just taking in Rilke's words over and over again, what I have really come to cherish is the truth, and it sounds harsh at first, but I feel like it should give us hope. The truth that no feeling is final also applies to joy. So what I mean by that is we didn't know that that party we were throwing for the World's on Fire video was the last time we'd all be together. So often we are a little embarrassed of our joy, some of us. We feel too privileged or something is going great for us, but we know others are struggling and we hide that light of joy under a bushel. I want you to remember that no feeling is final in regards to joy, and share it while you feel it. Invite other people into it with you. Invite everybody to wear wigs to your Zoom meeting. Invite people to walk the dog with you at social distance. Don't go it alone. Tell people that you've gotten married even in the midst of hard times. What a joy to share that. Imagine if Joe didn't tell us. All right? So whatever your joy is, tell everybody. That's one of the things that I want to ask you to do, and invite. And more to the point, let us be joyful for others in their joy, knowing that for none of us will any of this last forever. So for me, one of the keystones of my ministry was losing my father unexpectedly as a young adult. He was very healthy. It was an unexpected loss. And prior to his death, I was afraid of a lot of things. One of my memories is that I never wanted to get bangs because I was worried if I got a bad haircut, what was I worried about? But after my father died, I did a lot of different things with my hair because I realized it'll grow back. It's not life and death. And I think we've learned in this pandemic what life and death really is. And so I want us as UUs, because we often can be very in the head and we often can be pretty down. There is a lot to be down about. But to remember to bring our joy practices to church. It's been such a joy to connect with Reverend Mary as a colleague. It's been such a joy to work with your team. And so when you invite others to come into this space, you have Zoom. Hopefully not forever. Hopefully this Zooming is not final. But for this period of time, you have the opportunity to invite anyone to church here in Olympia. You can invite somebody from Austria, like Rainer Maria Rilke was from. You can invite someone from Texas. You can invite all of your loved ones. And so what? If it's fleeting and they can only come once or twice, and then you're back in person and they can't come, let them taste the joy of being loved just the way you are, like Alandria Williams talked about in We Are Worthy. Let them sing Shine on Me with you, and then they'll want to find it where they are too. People need this community. The world is on fire and people need love. What I want to say to you about that video too is that the day we shot it, what I remember is I asked my friend Jazz Mills, who's an artist who also works with feeding folks who are experiencing homelessness in Austin, and I asked her, Jazz, how much do I have to clean my house before I let people come over for this video? And she said, not at all. She said, it has to look real. It has to look lived in. And I was so thankful. And here's what I want to say to you, and I hope you remember. We are always comparing our messy insides to other people's shiny outsides, especially in this time of virtual connection. No matter how much we try, and I'll tell you, I try as a community minister and an artist to be authentic, to give people highs and lows and everything in between on social media, it's still curated. So remember to let people see your mess as best you can. That's the real stuff. But also, nobody has it as perfect as it might look. You're not alone in the struggles that you're feeling inside. It's a gift to let people in, to say to them, this church, come as you are. You don't have to change. Our third principle of Unitarian Universalism is acceptance and spiritual growth. So to be able to say to people, we accept you just the way you are, and we're trying to grow together, is a beautiful thing. The world's on fire and we still fall in love. I accept you and we're going to grow together. It's a powerful thing. With this poem that Liz so beautifully read to you, another favorite part of it for me is this. You, sent out beyond your recall, go to the limits of your longing. Embody me, flare up like a flame, and make big shadows I can move in. I could live in that stanza. Make big shadows I can move in. This is in the voice of the divine, the voice of God that Rilke's imagining. So for you, whatever you hold as divine, whatever you hold as holy or deepest, most cherished, in that voice, we are being told to be embodied. There was that meditation practice, there's dancing, there's rock and roll, however you choose to be embodied. To flare up like a flame, the world's on fire, and make big shadows I can move in. Here is the most important part. In the shadows, in the darkness, as Liz also said in those beautiful opening words that she chose, there is God. There is the divine moving with us in the shadow that is created by this fire. I love that so much, and I feel it in my bones that in the hardest times, that is where we find our truth. We find the love of God, the love of the divine, and that we need to find positive language for darkness. This has implications for our racial justice work, for our self-love, that we don't use light as a positive metaphor and dark as a negative. Because where does new life grow but in the darkness of the womb? Where do seeds explode into the fullness of who they're going to become, but in the dark richness of soil? Where are the stars, if not in the dark sky? Darkness is beautiful. So what I want to invite us also to do is to claim some language, to make sure we have some language where we know darkness is divine. So the Reverend Meg Barnhouse, who serves First UU in Austin and who I love dearly, a phrase I've heard her use is divine light and sacred dark, so that we hold both highly, divine light and sacred dark. So I pass that along to you if that's helpful. But in the shadows, the divine is moving with us. And so in that message, where the times are difficult, know you are not alone. This community is an expression of universal love. That is what Unitarian Universalism is all about. So know in your struggles, whatever you might define as a dark time in the sort of old school way of using that metaphor, know that you are not alone, that we are with you, that your faith community is with you. And lastly, I want to invite you to make sure joy is with you, that we ritualize it and we bring it with us no matter what. And so I want to leave you with my favorite piece of scripture. Number one, This is the Poverty and Justice Bible. It is a particular edition of the Bible that I grew up UU, not a lot of Bible in my upbringing. And so when I wanted to be an interfaith chaplain and a justice minister out in the wider world where there's people of all faiths, I knew I was going to have to get more literacy in different texts, especially the Bible. And then I heard that the Reverend Dr. William Barber, one of the great racial justice advocates in this country, used this edition. And I'll share a link in the chat later if someone doesn't beat me to it. But the great thing about this one is I love to highlight books, y'all, but this one comes already highlighted with passages that relate to poverty and justice. So if you're looking to connect more to your Christian roots or Christian faith or poverty and justice issues, I commend this one to you. But we're going to read a small piece of Exodus. And the feminist scholar Carol Myers has argued that Exodus might be the most important book of the Bible, and it is to me. You may know the story. The Israelites are on the long, hard journey from slavery to the promised land. I invite you to connect with it in whatever way is authentic to you. This piece is from the Song of Miriam, chapter 16, verses 19 to 22. After the Israelites had walked safely through on dry ground, Miriam, the sister of Aaron, was a prophet. So she took her tambourine and led the other women out to play their tambourines and to dance. Then she sang to them. Miriam was a prophet, and then there's a two-letter word here that's so important to me, so. Miriam was a prophet, so she took her tambourine and led the other women out to play and to dance. Not Miriam was a prophet, and they tolerated her tambourine. Not Miriam was a prophet, and by the way, she had a tambourine, but Miriam was a prophet, so she had a tambourine. Joy, music, dance were essential to her life as a prophet. And she didn't just perform music and dance, she invited the others to come and sing and dance with her. We as Unitarian Universalists have a prophetic role to play in a world on fire, to bring love, and we need to do it with joy. So I invite you to think about, what is your tambourine? What is your instrument of joy and inclusion, and how you might bring it to church or how you might use it to invite others in? And I want to lift up one last point from my colleague and friend, Mandy McGlynn. Imagine these women packing up to escape slavery, caring so much about joy and music and dance that they packed tambourines. How hard would it have been to silently pack tambourines and to save space in their packs that could have gone to food? That little space for a tambourine meant that they had faith that the rest would be provided. May it be so for us. Blessed be. In that spirit, I invite us into song, a version of one of our hymns that could really only have been done in this pandemic. I invite you to sing along.
No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love prevails in heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love prevails in heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? I lift my eyes, the cloud grows thin. I see the blue above it, and day by day this pathway smooths. Since first I learned to love it, no storm can shake my inmost calm. I hear the music ringing, it sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? 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 Keep singing. Keep singing. Keep singing. Keep singing.
I give thanks for the Pod Brothers Virtual Orchestra. What a gift. I feel also like one of those classic Southern preachers, like mopping my brow from the warmth of Texas here. That's how you know you're really feeling it. But what a joy to be with you. I want to invite you to extinguish the chalices physically, but keep those flames of commitment, of love, of joy still burning in your hearts. If you would envision the hand you're going to hold in person when we can all be together again. And if you're with someone, and they're willing, let's have you guys hold hands, and then we can like live vicariously and joyfully through those of you who are able to hold hands in person. I will never take that hand-holding thing for granted again after this year. All right, let's take a breath. Spirit of life and love, thank you for this day. Thank you that in the midst of the fires, there is still love and the ability to connect across the miles. Thank you for this community, for the volunteers and the staff that made this morning possible, and for everyone who brings their whole and worthy and beautiful selves to this community, that it may carry on, even in hard times, knowing that someone needs this place and will find it just at that moment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen. Blessed be.
Let's join in singing our unison benediction. How bountiful the blessings that surround us. We come together grateful to be one. As we go forth and greet the days unwinding, the circle grows as pebbles thrown to pond. And know that Spirit guides us on our pathways, abiding in our hearts the bond of love.
Thank you, Reverend Aaron. Please stay online if you'd like to join in virtual coffee and conversation. You'll see an invitation pop up that will invite you to join a breakout room. Please introduce yourself to anyone you don't know. Thank you for building community today. If you're new to OUUC, we'd love to hear from you. You can fill out a